Okay, Virginia Slim, I appreciate you taking the time out to come on Bomb First. Before we get into the questions, I just wanted to check in, see how your sister Gail is doing with her health and stuff. I know I used to speak with her during the Roe era stuff, and yeah, I would love to hear how she's doing.
Oh, well, thank you for asking. Most people don't even know the situation to even know to ask, and I thank you for asking about her. She's doing very well. She is a fanatic about working out, so thank God she has invested her time and energy pre cancer and now post cancer working out. I think that's really what saved her life, that she was strong and healthy. So she's doing very well. You know, it's an everyday fight, and she'll be fighting this disease for the rest of her life. But with the support of all of us, and like I said, her working out and being the cancer warrior that she is, she's doing very well. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, definitely glad to hear that. Okay, so last week, I believe it was, you went viral for telling the story about the Tupac track "Me and My Girlfriend" that's on the Makaveli album. If you don't mind, for our listeners, can you go into detail about how that song came about?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, it was a fluke. So let me start from the beginning. My son's father is Eric B. of Eric B. and Rakim, and he and Tupac were very good friends. And one night we were all meeting at a nightclub somewhere on Sunset, and it was a night where he really did not want to be bothered with fans. Like, he just did not want to be there at all. And of course, he always had the Outlaws with him whenever he was out and about. So he had those guys with him. And when Eric and I pulled up to the club, he was standing outside in the front. He hadn't gone in yet. So we were all kind of pulling up around the same time. And he decided to leave his car keys with the Outlaws, and because we hadn't valeted our car yet, to jump in the car with Eric and I. And he was like, I don't want to be here. Let's go do something else. So he jumps in the car with us, and we left that nightclub. So we went back to our house. At the time, Eric and I had just moved in with Eric B. So it really wasn't anything that Pac wanted to do. He just wanted to discuss some of the things and some of the plans that he had on his mind with Eric. So we went back to our house, and we were sitting in the living room, and he was telling us all these ideas about what he had coming up. Everything from Gridlock to, what was the other movie he was working on at the time? Gang related, and making peace with Nas. He had just got back from New York from whatever award show that he was there, and how he wanted to pull everybody together to work on a couple of different projects. He was tired of the beef, basically. And then he was asking me if I remember the song. Oh man, it's a Prince song. Hold on, let me think. What was the name of it? Oh, If I Was Your Girlfriend. So he used to be a big fan of Prince, and he started talking about he wanted to do a song that kind of was metaphoric, like how Prince wrote If I Was Your Girlfriend. And I was like, oh yeah, I love that song so much too. And he was like, yeah, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a song about my gun. But people are going to think it's about my girlfriend, because I'm going to be writing about my gun like it's my girlfriend. So the night continues on, and he tells us all these, he was going to change his name to Makaveli. And he was giving us all this information about who Makaveli was and what he was known for. And we just kind of stayed up all night. Me, him, Eric B. I feel like there was somebody else there, but I can't really remember who it was right now. I'm sure it'll come to me later. But my little sister was there. Actually, who you just asked about. My sister, Gail, was there. She was there. So the next day we're at the studio, and honestly, I think that day he had recorded, what was that song? Dang, give me a second, John. He did a song that was a beef song that next day after he was with Eric and I. And so that very next day he left Eric B and I don't know if one of the Outlaws picked him up or if he caught a cab or whatever, but he went straight to the studio and he did that song. And it was kind of strange because he was talking about ending the beef the night before, but he was still kind of in the beef. So he did that song that day. Fast forward, I came to work. I think I had to be to work like 2 o'clock because I used to work 12-hour shifts, 2 p.m. to like 2 a.m. And he came run into the studio and he was like, I did 2 songs today. And I was like, oh, you did? And he goes back to the studio and he finishes the song. At the time, I didn't know he had did, and I didn't know that he did Me and My Girlfriend. So he comes to the studio office and he tells me and one of the girls that's working in there, her name was Isis. She was the studio manager and I was her assistant manager. He tells us that he needs someone to be the girl to the verses that he laid down for what was known then as My Girlfriend. It wasn't called Me and My Girlfriend. It was called My Girlfriend. And at that time, we used to hire a lot of work for hire, whether it was somebody to sing vocals, play live bass, guitar, drums, whatever it was. So Isis and I, now looking back on it, I truly believe that he was hinting to me to do the vocals, but because I was at work, I wasn't thinking artist. I was a recording artist at the same time. I was thinking, oh, let me get somebody on the phone and hire somebody for him to do the record, to complete it. And that's what I did. But it didn't work out. And we had paid about 3 different girls to do it. And we know Suge would be very upset if we kept paying people and the project wasn't getting done. So we ended up talking to one of the engineers and he was like, like I was asking him, how was the album coming? And it wasn't named Makaveli, the 7-Day Theory. I just kept saying, how's the Pac album going? And he was like, good, except we don't have the vocals that we need for My Girlfriend. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have the vocals for My Girlfriend? And he was like, yeah, like we got to get somebody else to do it. Like we're having a really hard time getting somebody to do that. So I'm thinking to myself, like, let me go talk to Pac, because he was at the studio the day that the engineer was telling me that story, that he didn't have anybody to do it. Like it wasn't turning out right. It was coming out really horrible. So I go back into the studio, and as I'm making my way back to Studio A, there's this long hallway from our office leading back to where to get back to where Pac is, but he's coming towards me. And I'm like, you guys didn't get nobody to do that song to You Don't Have a Girl. And he's like, please, can you just do it for me? Like, I know you can pull it off. Like, don't even hire nobody else. Don't even waste no money. Like, I know you got this in you. And he's animated. Pac used to be real animated. So he's like, I know you got this in you. Like, just do it for me, Queen. I go by Virginia Slim, but everybody called me Queen or Queenie at the time. He's like, you could do it, Queenie. I know you got it in you. So fast forward. I tell him, okay. So I tell him, all right, I'll do it, but I got to do it after my shift because I'm clocked in. Like I can't just stop working what I'm doing because there's other projects being done. There's Nate Dogg's first album being done. The Dogfather was in production. So I'm like, I got to do it after my shift, which isn't probably going to be till about 12 o'clock at night, like midnight really, that I really get off. So I call the engineers and I make my way. It wasn't at Can-Am Studio that I did these vocals. We were actually using another studio at the same time, and it was called Track, and it was in North Hollywood. It was called Track Studios. And they were over there doing a bunch of mixing and mastering. Tommy D and Lance. Can't remember Lance's last name. So I pull up to the studio. Oh gosh, I didn't even have a car. So I get dropped off at the studio. And my son's father, Eric B, is like, what are you doing? Why did you have them drop you off there? Why didn't you come home? And I said, well, Pac asked me to do something and it's got to be done because they're ready to start mixing on this one song. And he's like, all right, well, let me know if you need a ride from there and I'll come get you from there. So I go in the studio, and this is when everybody is big chiefing. It's not, marijuana at the time is not legal, but everybody is big chiefing. So when I walk in, Tommy D and Lance are on a break. And they're big chiefing. So when I come in, they're like, everybody's kind of just like rushing and trying to get to work. And I'm like, oh, no, I literally just work like an 8-hour shift. So I want to decompress a little bit. So I tell the engineers that y'all got to pay me in a joint for coming over here and helping y'all out. And they like, pay you in a joint, girl, you can have all the joints you want. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm off. I'm not even supposed to be doing this. It's been a long day. You know what I mean? So Tommy D gives Lance some some tree, and he rolls it up for me, and they pull the song up. But it takes a minute though, because they had to change the reels, and this is when we're using 456 Ampex reels. So it takes a long time to change those reels, get it all queued up where it needs to be. So I'm just kind of chilling in the studio waiting for this all to happen. And then Tommy D is like, we're ready for you. And I'm like, cool. Now the joint that they gave me, I hadn't smoked it yet because I was smoking their joints. I was kind of slick like that. I thought I'd save my weed and take it home. So they're like, yeah, go in the booth, put the headphones on. And at the time, nobody knew I was a recording artist. So they really didn't know that I knew what I was doing once I got in the booth. And they're like, we're just going to play it for you. And when they played it for me, there were no vocals at the intro. And then they fast forward the reels, and then they let me hear the blank airtime that Pac needed the most vocals on. So they rewind it from the top, and I'm like, let me get a count. I'm also a dancer, a trained choreographer and a dancer at the time. And I'm like, let me get a good count so I know when to stop, when to start. So they played the intro of it, and I did the count. I light the joint. I put it out, drink a little bit of water, and I just ran it off the top of my head. You motherfucking right. I'm the bitch that's keeping it live and keeping it hot when you punk ass niggas don't. Nigga, West Side, what? Bring it on. Look for me, lost in the world, and it went. Ooh, I got goosebumps talking about it right now. And it went perfectly. So Lance and Tommy D is like, they're doing a little jig and they're screaming and hollering. They let it, like, I can hear them through the headphones. And they're like, oh my God, it was perfect. Now, me being a perfectionist, I want to hear it. And then when they played it back, now I'm getting goosebumps and I feel good about it. But when they played it back, I was like, nah, let me do it again. Like, let me get another take. I can do it better than that time. And they were like, hell no. They were like, absolutely not. We don't even need another take of that. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm kind of in my feelings because I'm an artist. And like Erykah Badu said, I'm sensitive about my shit. So I don't even want to do anything else at this point because I feel like I don't really have creative control. So I'm like, all right, then I'm done. And they like, nah, you got to do the second part. And now I'm hearing Pac in my ears as they're telling me I got to do the second part. I know you got it in you. Just get it done for me. And he used to beg like that. That's how he begged me to do it. So I'm hearing him pleasing and begging, even though I'm mad at Tommy D and them for not giving me a second take of it. So I'm like, all right. So they fast forward the reels to the blank part. And I don't even know what I'm going to say at this part. Because as I'm listening to his lyrics and I'm running back the description that he gave me the night before, the night before he recorded the vocals with me and my baby daddy, I'm like, I don't even know what a gun is supposed to sound like. Like, I grew up in the suburbs. I'm trained in ballet and jazz. I've been on tour with R&B acts. I just work for the most gangster record label in the world. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't even know what a gun sounds like being shot in real life, let alone try to make myself sound like a gun. So they run it back, and after I get the count, they like, are you ready? And I remember telling them this. I said, I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. So whatever y'all do, don't stop recording no matter how corny it gets, right? So they let me hear the part where Pac is saying, one shot, make a nigga heartbeat stop. And I didn't know they was recording, but I just went in. What? I'm busting on all you niggas. I'm ducking high. I'm on your ass. Die, nigga, die. And then I'm saying a whole lot of stuff that comes after. And then I kind of my voice gets kind of, because my throat is dry. And they stop recording. And another celebration dance goes on. And once they finally mixed and broke up everything and added the gunshots, and I think there's a sound of a bus going by, the sound of some tires screeching, like the people that I'm shooting at is trying to get away from me. That's how you got the masterpiece of Me and My Girlfriend. I got goosebumps now. And that's how that song came about. It was a total accident, but it was a work of art. It was a total accident that became a work of art.
Yeah, that song is definitely notorious. Let me ask you this. There's a version that leaked that's like a rough mix version. that has you just on the intro part, but not, like not the second part where you cut into Tupac's verse. But you're saying that you did both of them the same day, right?
Yeah, I did them. I did them same day, same time. But the reason why that probably came about is because like I just kept running. Like it's shorter now when I'm telling the story, but when I laid that second part, it was long. They told me that they would be able to, this is when Pro Tools first started. They told me not to worry about it, that they would be able to cut, copy, paste, put what they wanted and needed wherever they needed it to be. So I probably was on that rant as the gun for a good 2 minutes. And I'm sure that's probably how that other version has come about.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So after the songs come out, I saw on your Instagram and on your TikTok that it's been a bit of a challenge to try to figure out your credit and your royalties and all this stuff. I know you had mentioned, reaching out to the estate and that Suge at one time was going to help you. Do you think that when it came to Suge that he didn't know how to help you, or you think he just didn't help you? Like, what do you think happened with that situation?
It was so complicated at that time because Suge went to prison. And I honestly don't think Death Row meant to leave me out off of the credits and out of getting me my royalties at that time in 96. Because Pac passed away, Suge went to prison, they shut down the recording studio at Can-Am. I was laid off. Isis was laid off, the other girl that was working there. And then it became really hard to get in touch with anybody at Death Row. I don't even know who was running it. I know everybody kept telling me that I needed to talk to Roy and Norris because Suge was in jail. And I don't know if you guys know who those people are, but they worked at the record label. The people that worked at the recording studio were different from the people that worked at the record label, but we all worked under the Death Row umbrella. Like all of our checks said the same thing. And some of those people I didn't even know. I knew them by voice, but I didn't even know what they did for the record label. So after months of trying to get in touch with somebody, I was pregnant. I actually found out the day that Pac passed away, September 13th, 1996. I drove back from Las Vegas early that morning and I went right to a clinic and found out I was pregnant. So trying to get in touch with someone in the label and becoming, I don't know, falling deeper into my pregnancy, because I found out I was 3 months pregnant at that time. I kind of backed off, and like I said, my son's father was Eric B, and we had money, and I don't think they intended it to go down because I wasn't the only person that got left off. I'm just the only person that hasn't been recognized, and it hasn't been fixed for me. I understand some producers have been paid, singers that were left off, they've been paid and gotten their recognition, and life just kind of took over for me. And yeah, it just became a nightmare, and it went on for years. So life kicked in for me, and then I became a single mom, and then I got back into the entertainment business as a dancer, and I started touring and dancing again. And each time I hired an attorney, and even when Suge got out of jail the second time, I believe he intentionally didn't help me get my royalties or my recognition. The first time, though, to answer your question, no, he was in jail. He was fighting. He violated his probation, so he was fighting for his freedom at that time too. So the first time, no, but the second time, yeah, I think he intentionally didn't take care of me properly after promising me that he would.
Do you have any idea why you feel like he didn't do that? I mean, do you feel like he had it to where when he got out of prison that he could have gotten it handled and just didn't?
Yes.
Or if so, do you know why he wouldn't have done it for you?
I think he was just too distracted with honestly having a good time because he was free. I mean, Don't get me. Okay, so listen. I started working for the record label again when he got out. He hired me again to come work at the record label. The label was on Wilshire, I think, in San Vicente at the time. And he hired me to be a receptionist. It kept me from touring. That way I could be home to be a mom. I also worked on, he was releasing the Dysfunctional Family soundtrack at the time. So work was being done. And I'm actually I'm on another song with Crooked Eye from that time. And he didn't take care of me then. My name is on it, but he didn't have me deal with the people that would take care of the, he kept telling me, I'm gonna get it taken care of for you. I'm gonna get it taken care of. So I trusted him, and I did another song with Crooked Eye called Still the Row. He changed the name from Death Row to The Row, and he didn't take care of me for that song. And then he fired me. So then I had no way to like, and I don't know if he fired me because I was asking him to take care of me for me and my girlfriend, because I do know that he signed over, he gave clearance for Jay-Z and Beyonce to remake my song. This was during that time. Not my song, our song, to me and Pac's song, me and my girlfriend. Jay-Z and Beyonce redid it, and they named it '03 Bonnie and Clyde. So, I mean, I'm working for you. I'm right there in the office. He played the song on repeat while I was working the day in the office. So he was very much so aware that he needed to take care of me. That day, I remember walking into his office and smirking, and him saying, I'm going to take care of you. Sitting back, smoking his cigar and telling me, we going to get that paperwork done, Queenie. I promise you. And still. And then I trusted his ass again. And I did Still the Row with Crooked Eye off the Dysfunctional Family soundtrack. We shot a video. It was the first single release, and he still didn't take care of me from that. So in 96, not his fault. In '03, totally his fault. Totally intentional. He totally left me off of that intentionally.
Okay. From what I understand, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and if you don't want to speak on this, that's fair. But from what I understand now, Reggie and the Realists are trying to help you get to the right person at Universal to get everything situated. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. Thank God for them. Thank God for the Realists. Shout out to Reggie Wright. Salute y'all for really stepping up. And I'm glad I shared my story on TikTok and Instagram, because I really wasn't going to do that. But now that I did that, they thought, well, the Realist, because he is like my brother. We have been rocking with each other for so many years. He thought all these years that I had received a plaque. He thought that I had gotten my royalties, maybe not really like my name featuring me, but he thought that behind the scenes, all of that had been taken care of. And I'm assuming that because over the years, I have been telling people that even some of the outlaws, that I was working with Afeni before she passed away to get it taken care of. And yeah, I guess, they say social media works if you want to kick somebody in the butt and get it in gear. But yeah, the Realist and Reggie Wright are now helping me get to the proper place. Because I even told Realist the story about how I contacted Molly in 2023. And Molly talked to me by email for 6 months just to tell me in the final month that I'm not even the person you're supposed to be talking to about this, Queen. Yeah. Yeah. So sorry, the cameraman just made a face, but that's how people have been. I'm going to help you, dragging it out. Every time I get close, something happens, or I'm not talking to the right person, or redirecting me to Hasbro and redirecting me to Pox Estate. And then I finally get somebody from Pox Estate, and after 6 months, she tells me, I'm not even the person you're supposed to talk to. So I've been getting the runaround. I've been trying. I've been trying to take care of my business, but life be lifing. And I forgot that Molly had told me that until the Realist asked me, did I get in touch with Molly? He brought her name up a couple of days ago, and I went back into those emails, and I got discouraged, and I never tried again after her last email. She sent me the emails of her legal team, and I didn't even get in contact with them. So after I told the Realist that story, he contacted Reggie, or I don't know how it went on their end. Actually, the realist contacted some people that knew how to get in contact. I think it was Big C Style, and he got in touch with Snoop Dogg. And for a while, I thought Snoop was going to be able to help me with that. And we found out that he doesn't own the rights to not only Tupac's estate, but Dr. Dre and any of the soundtracks like Above the Rim that was on Death Row. So that would be like beating a dead horse going that way. So, yep. Reggie and the Realists are currently helping me um, get my royalties, and now I think I found out through Reggie that it's Universal Music Group that I possibly have to go through. Either way, the Realists and Reggie jumped into action for me, and I really appreciate them. I love them so much for doing that for me.